Hi everyone, I'm Brock. So today let's review another book I have read before. So this book is Bai Lu Yuan, White Deer Plain. So White Deer Plain is a landmark of contemporary Chinese literature, centered on three generations of feud and entanglement between the Bai and Lu clans on White Deer Plain in Guangzhou, Shaanxi. It depict, it depicts nearly half a century of rural transformation from late Qing to the founding of People's Republic in 1949. Upon publication, the novel caused a sensation, with print runs quickly exceeding 1 million copies. It has been adapted into films, TV dramas, stage plays, ballet, and Qing opera, and it's often handled as China's 100 Years Solitude. Chen Zhongshi said he wanted to write a book I could pillow my coffin on when I die, emphasizing that the work was a systematic dissection of secret history of the Chinese nation and the deep psychological structure of rural China. Chen Zhongshi, oh, he already died. Chen Zhongshi, born in 1942, died in 2016, was born in Baqiao District, Shaanxi Province. He began publishing essays in 1965. Okay, 17 years old. Joined the Chinese Writers Association in 1979. Okay. 30, 30, 37 years, and later served as the chairman of Shaanxi Writers Association and the vice chairman of the Chinese Writer Association. Chen's writing is rooted deeply in the regional culture of Guangzhou, Shaanxi, rendering the fate of land and people with stern yet compassionate prose. Influenced both by Liu Qing's creative history and by Cuban writer Elijah Carpentier. Marvelous realism. Right Deer Plain fuses local gasters, village convenience, so many hard words, climb patriarchy, and magical imagination into a single version. In the middle 1980s, the intellectual opening of the Reform era, the root-seeking literature movement, the opening of country archives, and the introduction of Latin American magical realism enabled Chen to re-examine the Guangzhou countryside before 1949. He spent years studying the country gazetteers of Lantian, Chang'an, and Xianning. I don't know whether it is Hubei Xianning or not. Interviewing elders and copying the Confucian villager companion, laying a rich ethnographic foundation for the novel. Okay. So what's about the story? No matter what you want to express, you must have a very engaging story first. If you don't have an engaging story, no matter what you want to say, no people want to know about it. So opening, the cursed husband and the apparition of the right deer. Bai Jiaxuan, the patriarch of White Deer Village, had lost 6 wives in succession, giving rise to rumors he was fate-hardened and cursed. After his 7th wife, Shaanxi, he discovered that a miraculous plane in snow-covered slope. You see, the Chinese, these sentences is not translated into English. The AI sometimes actually, when it does translation, it's actually be lazy and skip something silently. He discovered a miracle plane in the snow-covered slope, believed to be legendary white deer spirit, and secretly swept his better farmland for Lu Zilin's slope to bury his father there. From then on, the Bai family proposed Xiao'e, Xianchao bears him 3 sons, Xiaowen, Xiaowen, Xiaoyi, and a daughter, Bai Ling. Rising action, the Xiangyue, the patriarch, and the 2 rival clans. Guided by his learned brother-in-law, Mr. Zhu, Bai Jiaxuan engraves the Song Dynasty village covenant, written by Lu Daling, on the stone stairs on the ancestral hall to re-establish moral order. In contrast, Lu Zilin, patron of the rival Lu clan, rised through political opportunism to become township official. Bai's uprightness versus Lu's curving forms the novel's central turning point. Tian Xiao'e, Hei'wa, and the arrival of revolution. Lu Zilin's son, Lu Zaopeng, returns from study as a communalist. Hei'wa, son of Bai family's held land Lu Shan, brings home Tian Xiao'e, a landlord's concubine he took on the road. Bai Jiaxuan forbids them from entering the ancestral hall, and they live in a cave daring. Under Lu Zaopeng's influence, Hei'wa joins the wine and snow peasant movement and smashed the Xiangyue steers. After the revolution fails, Hei'wa turns bandit. Tian Xiao'e, Lu Zilin seduced Tian Xiao'e as revenge, using her to drag Bai Jiaxuan's eldest son, Xiaowen, into opium addiction and moral ruin. I find that sometimes, a man get, addicted to something or, behave badly. People always blame that on women. But from another perspective, it's But I think that it's from another perspective, it's a man's own issue. If we just driven by our own hormone and do some things, what's the difference between a human and an animal? Well, sometimes even animals doesn't behave more badly than human beings when human fully driven by its own biological desires. Climax, the death of Tian Xiao'e and Plunge. Lu Shan, Tian Xiao'e's own father-in-law, unable to bear the disgrace she brought to the family, slipped into her cave and killed her with a spear. Her vengeful spirit possessed him, crying out through his mouth. A plague that swipes by the airplane, Caning, Xianchao, and Bai Jiaxuan's mother. Bai Jiaxuan builds a hexagonal of so many hard words, break, pegado. Let me write down. So if there are some hard words, such as, right, axle, logger, pagoda, and such as concubine, inbiao, how do you say that? Phonetic symbol.
Phonetic symbols.
Phonetic symbol.
Phonetic symbols.
Phonetic symbols. Okay. Let's continue. So war and sacrifice. When the anti-Japanese war erupted, the aging Mr. Zhu tries to march to Shaanxi front but is pulled back. He then compelled the Lantian country gazetteer with 8 colleagues, Bai Lu, Bai Ling, okay, Bai Jiaxuan's daughter, who had long left home to join the communist revolution, is wrongly executed by being buried alive. During purge, traitors campaign in Shanbei base. Her spirit appears at home that very night. Sometimes, tolerance is pretty hard, right? You use hatred to treat others, even your enemy. But at the end of the day, you may put that hatred or torture on something actually is innocence. And it's even possible that someday the torture will go back to our own, ourselves. So I gradually understand, yeah, 以德报德，以直报怨 rather than 以怨报怨 maybe. Bai Jiaxuan weeps through the night. Bai Xiaowen and Mr. Zhu's mentorship. Quits. Opium. Opium or Yapian, interesting. And rise into the nationalism security region. Ending. Um, 1949, Xi'an is liberated. Oh, okay. Lu Zhaopeng, disguised as a nationalist major, returns to Zhishui County, and with Hei'wa, Zhao Zhenguo, and Bai Xiaowen, launched an uprising. Bai Xiaowen shoots Commander Zhang himself and claims the intel credit. Okay. Writing General He Long that his first battalion alone revolted. Within a year, he was arrested on 3 charges. Banditry, attacking the right-serving army, and murdering a comrade. So you see again, the English here explain what the 3 charges, but in the Chinese part, it doesn't mention what the 3 charges. In fact, engineered by Bai Xiaowen, Bai Jiaxuan travels to town to plead for his release, but his own son refused coldly. On the festival day, Dragon Risehead, 2nd day of the 2nd lunar month, Hei'wa, 田福贤，岳为山 are publicly executed. Bai Jiaxuan collapsed on the scene. Dr. Len must ground out his hemorrhage left eye. Lu Zilin parodied on stage for struggle. Lu lost his mind, raised himself before the crowd, and died frozen in a wood shed that winter. Mr. Zhu had long passed away. The novel closed on the stark image of Lu Zilin's frozen waist. It doesn't explain what this means. 白鹿原，两家斗了几十年，家家户户都上了元。What does that mean? Okay, this is a plot. So main characters. Bai Jiaxuan, the Rome Wall Street patriarch. Bai Jiaxuan is the soul of white clan. He guards the Shaanxi with an unwavering spine, and upspread and that woman on the stream ducked into doorways to avoid him. He's both virtuous, rebuilding the ancestral hall, founding a school, burying Tian Xiao'e from the clan hall, and calculating the secret land swap. He embodies both the strength and the limit of traditional patriarchal order. Mr. Zhu, the last Confucian of Guangzhou school. Mr. Zhu is modeled of Liu Zhaolian, the last Qing dynasty, Juren scholar. He topped idols with wooden clocks in the sun to a warn of coming rainstorm, forecast which crops will thrive. Dissuade a Qing general from counterattack, and attempts at 17th to cross the Yellow River to fight Japan. He compels the Lantian County Gazetteer. It's the most compact of the novel, embodying Zhang Zai's motto: 为天地立心，为生民立命，为往圣继绝学，为万世开太平。鹿子霖, the calculating opportunist. Lu Zilin is Bai Jiaxuan's lifelong rival, 一生之敌是吧 Cunning, vengeful, and opportunistic. He used Tian Xiao'e as a bait to corrupt Bai's son Xiaowen. He represents the artitarian personality within patricial society. Parading in a struggle session, he lost control of his balls, goes insane, and freezes to death in a wooden sheet. Lu Zhaoxuan, Hei'wa, Lu Zhaoqian, the rebel who returns and was still killed. Hei'wa, son of held hand Lu Shan, brings Tian Xiao'e home. Leads a pleasant moment, turns bandit, then returns as a reformed man starting under Mr. Zhu, and finally engineers the 1949 uprising. Yet he is betrayed by his sworn brother Bai Xiaowen and publicly executed. His fate poses the novel's sharpest question: why must a reformed prodigal still die under the new order? Tian Xiao'e, the female body, crushed by patriarchy. Tian Xiao'e, a concubine reduced to a date-soaking, contraceptive object for her first master, makes her only autonomous choice by running off with Hei'wa. She is barred from the ancestral hall, sexually exploited by Lu Zilin, stabbed to death by his own father-in-law, and pained by a pivotal event in death. Chen Zhongshi convinced her while lifting through 4 or 5 volumes of chase the windows in the country gazetteer. She is the novel's most violent and count inscription against that tradition. Bai Ling, the idealist revolutionary. Bai Jiaxuan's daughter Bai Ling breaks out of food banning and arranged marriage. Joins the Communist Party, flees to the Shaanxi base, and is buried alive during an internal purge. No matter it's wrong or right, at least, imagine ourselves as a normal human. It's pretty hard. Her prototype is a real martyr, Zhang Jingwen. Her death explores the violence and absurdity within the revolution itself. Bai Xiaowen, the saint son's fall and the ruthless rise. Bai Jiaxuan's eldest son, and the intended success is corrupted by Tian Xiao'e and Lu Zilin into a opium rack who fights stray dogs for food. Rescued later by Mr. Zhu, he joins the nationalist secure regiment. Defeated in 1949. Claims sole credit for the uprising, becomes county head, and destroyed his sworn brother Hei'wa, his lover's portrait of pure hypocrisy. Because he experienced the darkest time, so he lose confidence on this world, so he can treat others coldly, I think. Lu Zhaopeng, the steadfast communist. Lu Zilin's eldest son is the first Communist Party member on White Deer Plain. Founded its first party cell in a green shop in Meichun, Mengchun, the most ideological. Steadfast character. He paid the price of broken family. His wife, Dr. Len's daughter, got mad. Lu Shan, the loyal held hand. Lu Shan works for Bai Field his whole life as a lawyer held hand. Yet he murdered his own daughter-in-law, Tian Xiao'e, for shaming the family, and his mind collapsed. Afterward, he represents how present morality, when burned by patriarchy, turns into tragedy. The more stories I read, the more important I think humanity is. Humanity is more important than rules, I think. Dr. Len, the physician witness. Dr. Len treats rich and poor alike and serves as novel's for conscience. When his daughter, Lu Zhaopeng's wife, goes mad, he personally gives her herbs to end her menstruation. It is also he who executed Bai Jiaxuan's blood-swollen left eye at the end. Okay, so same analysis. Theme 1, the secret history of patriarchal China. Theme 2, land, ancestor graves, and feng shui. Theme 3, the glory and the backlash of revolution. Theme 4, political economy of the female body. Theme 5, the twilight of the literary spirit. Theme 6, the interweaving of magical and the real. My reading reflection. Observation 1, a novel is a nation's secret history. Observation 2, Chinese people do have beliefs. Confucianism and ancestor worship. Observation 3, writers only reign true when writing what they know. Observation 4, storytelling is the most effective pedagogy. Well, actually, I shouldn't put, the internet novel and the Korean drama, same in the same level as AV. It's my prejudice. Observation 5, Mr. Zhu, small good, great good. Observation 6, the obsession of hills and its historic tooling. Observation 7, reading as a practice of living more clearly. Okay. Conclusions and insights. Firstly, the secret history lens. The eternal tension between integrity and expediency. Revolution needs reflection, not him. The female body as a politic. Schools over shrines. The magical is the real. To record with compassion, not to judge. One book, one plane, one nation. Yeah, I think that's pretty much for this book. Thank you, everyone. Bye.